Phillies fans are roaming the concourses here at the Big A, getting set for game one of a two-game series, an interleague series between the Phils and the LA Angels. The second time this year these two teams have faced off. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Matt Stairs. Welcome back, Matt. Nice to have you back in the booth. The Phillies and the Angels getting set to square off for the second time this year. This is an Angels team that's battling the Oakland A's for the top spot in the American League West. But, Matt, this is also an Angels team that's really struggling since the All-Star break.
Yeah, they really have. And the only bright spot they've had right now is their pitching. The signing of Grilly, he's come in and brought some energy. Houston Street's come from San Diego. He's been pitching very well. The big thing is here is everyone talks about pitching wins. To me, offense wins. It shows right here. 223 since the All-Star break. The first half of the break, they had 9 guys hitting 290 or above. Since the All-Star break, Mike Trout is leading at 260. These guys are striking out a lot, not putting the ball in play when it should, swinging at the pitcher's pitch. And really having a hard time scoring runs right now because everyone's trying to do too much.
All right, from a starting pitching standpoint, tonight's starter is C.J. Wilson, a big free agent acquisition a couple of years ago. He has not been very good the last handful of starts since coming back from the DL.
No, he hasn't. And his delivery, I talked to Mark Langston earlier, and he said his delivery, his lower half is very quick. His hand's not catching up to his fastball. And that's the biggest thing right now. He's trying to throw every single pitch. His best pitch is the fastball. Once he establishes fastball, he can throw that very good slider. And you can see the numbers month by month. July and August have been very tough because he can't get that slider over for strikes. His fastball is erratic. He's throwing a lot of 3 balls, 2 strikes, a lot of base runners. Early in the season, he can make that one pitch to get out of the inning. Now he's giving up a lot of hits. That's why they're scoring a lot of runs.
And Mike Sosa says the ankle is fine. The ankle's not the reason why his numbers are so lofty. So we'll see if the Phils can get some base runners here tonight. It's game one of a 2-game series. Jerome Williams will be making his Phillies debut. He seemed pretty relaxed before the start of this ball game. And for C.J. Wilson, his 22nd start of the season. When we return to Anaheim, lineups and first pitch for game number 1. Phillies. Sosa, the manager of the Angels, Ryan Sandberg, the skipper for the Philadelphia Phillies. This is a very quick 2-game series between the Phils and the Angels. Same kind of series the Phillies and LA played earlier this season in Philadelphia, where the Angels won both of those games. Great moment before the start of today's ball game. The Angels honored the late Jim Fregosi, the former Phillies manager, and also an original Angel. And there's Jim Fregosi Jr. throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. Don Baylor, who was the MVP in 1979 for the American League when Jim Fregosi managed the LA Angels. And Jim was very popular out here in Anaheim. Wound up playing here, as we said, for 11 seasons, was an original member of the LA Angels, then the California Angels. Played a little shortstop, played a little third base before he was traded over to the New York Mets. He played in all-star games left and right, and each team is wearing the patches tonight honoring the memory of Jim Fregosi. See the Phillies, the patch the Phillies are wearing right over the P, and the Angels are wearing the patch, the same patch, right over the A. And Jim's last name is inscribed on the grass here at the Big A with his number 11, which is the number he wore when he was a member of the Angels. Jim passed away this past off season. Six-time All-Star, won the Gold Glove in 1967, and of course led the Phillies to the National League Championship in 1993. Also before the ball game, look who decided to show up. The Philly fanatic made his way out here to Anaheim. He was having a little fun with some of the Angels players. C.J. Wilson. I don't think C.J. really wanted to have fun with the fanatic. A little dancing going on. Fanatic got a great round of applause when he was introduced, walking around with a map as if he was looking for his way back home. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at center field, Ben Revere. Jimmy Rollins bats second. Chase Utley hits third. Ryan Howard is the designated hitter tonight. He'll bat cleanup. Marlon Bird's in right field. He'll hit fifth. Dominic Brown bats sixth. In the bottom third of Ruiz, Ruff, Andres Blanco playing third base with the lefty C.J. Wilson on the mound. There is C.J. Wilson, the 33-year-old, making his 22nd start of the year. Just a 500 pitcher right now. For his career, though, Matt, he's 21 wins over 500. Just hasn't really put it all together here in 2014.
No, he really hasn't, and he's got a tremendous arm. He can throw, you know, the mid-90s back in the day when he was a closer and a setup guy. And you see the scouting report, 88 to 92 mile-an-hour fastball. Now, I won't go over all the pitches because he throws 6 of them. He'll also mix in a knuckleball once in a while. But the key for him tonight that he has to have is he has to have command of that slider. He's been getting over the plate and been getting hit pretty hard. He needs to learn how to bury it again.
Well, there is that scouting report. I can't believe he throws a knuckleball.
Well, time for our Nissan keys to the game. And the first one, I'll go with get as much from Jerome Williams as you can. Both teams are going to see what kind of he features tonight. And second, be ready to hit a mistake pitch thrown by C.J. Wilson tonight. He's made a lot of mistakes this year. Jump all over it and hit to the gaps and run.
Well, the first guy he'll face is Ben Revere, who has seen it before. Revere is 1 for 7 lifetime against C.J. Wilson, hitting .309, among the top 10 in hitting in the National League. This is a 5-game West Coast swing. 5 games in 6 days. An off day on Thursday, and then 3 in San Francisco. And it's a gorgeous night here in Anaheim. And we're just about ready to go. Talk about this ballpark a little bit, too. The Phillies haven't been here since 2003. It's a pitcher's ballpark. Down the lines, 347 in left, 350 in right. First pitch of the game to Ben Revere, and we're underway. And the pitch is in there for a strike, according to Mike Estabrook, and it's 0-1. Jimmy Rollins, you can see with the on-deck circle, said that pitch was down. No balls, 1 strike to Revere. And he pulls that one to the right side. Kendrick to his left. 2 pitches, 1 away here in the first. And that'll bring Jimmy Rollins to the plate. Rollins was 6 for 34 in the homestand for the Phillies. I think at this past homestand he got a chance to bat right-handed more than what we saw the previous 2 weeks. His average is dipped to 238. Does have 15 home runs and 49 runs batted in. Fastball outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Rollins 0 for 4 lifetime against C.J. Wilson. Inside, 2-0.
That's one thing I'd like to see early in this game is to see C.J. Wilson throw a lot of pitches. He's having a hard time his last 5 or 6 outings to throw strikes. Take some strikes and try to get deep into that bullpen. Especially if it's a 2-game series, you want to try to get in there as early as possible.
Well, get into a bullpen, which, as you mentioned before the ball game, their bullpen's been pretty good. But try to tire it out a little bit. 3 balls and no strikes to Jimmy Rollins. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Bonnie Kaplan of Voorhees. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game, and Bonnie will win $100. Rollins taking all the way. It's 3-1. This is the second visit for the Phillies to Anaheim to the Big A. They lost 2 of 3 the last time, as Rollins smokes that one foul into the camera well on the third base side. Mike Scioscia, who grew up in the Philadelphia area, his team has owned the Phillies in the few times they have faced each other. Phillies have lost 7 straight to the Angels. There's ball 4, and Rollins is aboard. And Matt, that's what you're talking about. 55 walks now in 123 2/3 innings for C.J. Wilson.
Yeah, and that's the key for him, is that he's always a guy who always, and we talked about it in the open, he will have a lot of runners on base. He will go 3 balls, 2 strikes on a lot of hitters. Early in the season, he can make that one pitch to get out of an inning. The problem he's having now is that one pitch is getting crushed in gaps, and that's why he's got so many guys on base all the time against him, because he's not making that quality pitch when he needs to.
Great quote from Mike Scioscia earlier this week. He said there's been some head scratching over the last 7 or 8 games for C.J. Wilson. 1 ball and no strikes to Chase Utley. Actually, he said there have been some head scratching moments. And he wasn't referring to the Head and Shoulders commercials that C.J. Wilson does. 1 ball, no strikes to Utley. Playing pretty much straight away in the outfield. And Utley pulls it towards second. This might be 2. This is a tailor-made double play. 4-6-3. Side is retired. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. Middle of the first. It's the Phillies nothing. The Angels coming up. Jerome Williams will make his debut. Card standings in the American League, but they'd like to win the division. They're 3.5 games out in the West. Let's take a look at his starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Cole Calhoun will lead it off in right field, then Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. Josh Hamilton's in left field. Eric Ivar, the shortstop, hits 5th. Howie Kendrick bats 6th. Brennan Bosch back from AAA today. He'll be the DH. He'll hit 7th. David Freese bats 8th. And batting 9th and catching is Chris Iannetta. I have to admit, it's strange to say batting 9th and doing something other than pitching. We're in an American League city, so the designated hitter is in play. Jerome Williams, 2-5 this year with a 6.71 earned run average. Matt, he's only started 2 games. He was a relief pitcher for the Houston Astros, and he started his last 2 appearances with the Texas Rangers, went 6 innings and 4 innings.
And I like comparing him to LaTroy Hawkins. He has a very good sinker, and that's the most important for him, is to get that ball down the zone. throws 88 to 92 mile an hour fastball, but he has to live at the bottom of the zone to have success.
First pitch is over for a strike. It's 0-1. See a scouting report. Fastball will top off at 92. Did pitch for the Angels 2011, 12 and 13. Calhoun fouls it. It's 0-2.
I had to laugh when we were here at 4 o'clock. I don't think I've ever seen a starting pitcher sit in the dugout, hooping and hollering, and enjoying being back in the big leagues and having fun again, like Jerome Williams was today.
Yeah, I said to him, so you're not a starting pitcher that gets concerned about chatting the day of a start? 0-2 pitch to Calhoun in the dirt, 1-2. Phillies claimed him off waivers from the Texas Rangers on the 10th of August, just a couple days ago. And that one is slapped down the left field line. It's going to be in for a base hit. Brown gets to it. Calhoun takes a wide turn and then holds up at first. Excellent technique by Dominic Brown to make sure that was just a single. And it's a 4-game hitting streak for Cole Calhoun. Well, Jerome Williams is not Jerome Lane, but he's a big guy. 119 starts. This is number 120. He's been around a while. He's pitched now for 7 teams, including the Phillies. Born in Honolulu. He was the Giants' first-round pick in 1999. Stands 6'3", 240 pounds. And Mike Trout takes a strike. It's 0-1. Balls, 2 strikes to Trout. Trout 27 home runs, 85 runs batted in. That's Mike Esterbrook. He's the home plate umpire. Hunter Wendelstedt is the crew chief. Toby Bassner at second. Marvin Hudson, the other veteran of this crew, is around to third. No balls and 2 strikes. Change up low. Or fastball low, I should say. Toyota Major League schedule, where scoreboard an update from Miami, where the Marlins have shut out the Cardinals 3-0. Donovan Solano, a 2-run home run. Pretty close pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Very good location. He's got a very good sinker working right now. 91, 92, and it has that downhill tilt. Jamie always talks about north and south. He has that late movement.
High fly ball to center. Playable for Revere. Calhoun tags, draws the throw. Revere's throws have been better lately. 1 out, runner at first. Albert Pujols is coming up. Murph, what about Jerome Williams? What does Ryan Sandberg think of his new starter?
Well, it's the million-dollar question, really, Tom. Ryan Sandberg, like everybody else, is kind of anxious to see what they have in Jerome Williams. He did say that, Williams hasn't pitched in about 11 or 12 days, so he should be very refreshed. And, he's the kind of guy, as Matt pointed out, has to keep the ball low in the zone. He thinks if he's able to do that, he will have some success tonight. But certainly Ryan Sandberg will be keeping a close eye on him. And, you mentioned how odd it was to see the starting pitcher before the game just kind of kicking back in the dugout at about 4 o'clock. And I had a chance to quickly talk to him about how he found out he was going to be a Philly. He was designated for assignment earlier in the week, or late last week, really, by the Texas Rangers. And he said it was his child's birthday, so his family decided to go to the water park. He said he was just floating on the lazy river when his phone rang, and his wife noticed it was a number from Pennsylvania. So they called back, and it was Ruben Amaro asking if he'd like to be part of this team and pitch on Tuesday. And of course, Jerome said yes, so he made his way out here to Anaheim. He actually lives out here, so his wife drove back. He flew over here and threw a side session yesterday for the Phillies, but his wife drove back with their 4 children, and they're here tonight.
Now, he threw a side session yesterday, but Ryan Sandberg could not confirm which vendor, which groundskeeper, who he threw the side session with.
Somebody caught it, but they're just not exactly
Exactly. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rhino was having some fun with it today, just as Jerome Williams was having fun, just sitting there chatting, talking to Justin DeFreitas, introducing himself to some of his teammates. Swing and a miss, 1-2. You might notice that Jerome is wearing the pink glove, which is somewhat of an oddity considering the black, the natural colored gloves the players generally use. Some pitchers will use different color gloves. Jerome, for the last several years, has used the pink glove, and that's in honor of his late mom, who passed away from breast cancer when Jerome was 18 years old. So 14 years ago, that's when his mom passed away. So this is his way of honoring her memory and also promoting whatever kind of research he can for breast cancer awareness. Outside to Pujols, it's 3-2. Pujols is 4 for 18 against Jerome Williams. Runner goes, pitches inside. Boy, there have been some close pitches here in this first inning. Luis thought that was a strike. Looked a little inside. Tonight's game is also available in Spanish. Just use the SAP button on your television or change the language through the menu on your cable box. Here's Josh Hamilton, and Hamilton pulls that one into right field, a base hit. Bird gets to it quickly, and Calhoun thought it might be caught, so he froze at second. But the Angels, who have the worst offensive numbers of any other team in the American League since the All-Star break, well, they are threatening here in the bottom of the first.
Josh Hamilton hits that line drive to right, and Calhoun had to freeze. Doesn't want to get doubled up. Marlins gets the ball in quick, and 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning.
Phillies will set up to try to turn 2. By the way, what you just saw from Marlon Byrd, and Matt, I know you know this, that's how he's played this entire year. I mean, he is on everything quickly. Nothing is lax whatsoever.
Well, and the nice thing about Marlon, the way he does it, when he gets a ground ball or fly ball, he gets the ball in as quick as possible, which puts a lot of pressure on the third base coach, either if he wants to send him or hold him.
Ibar hits it foul toward the Phillies dugout, 0-1.
Really, that's the way that coaches should teach people, or tell them this is how you want to get it done. As soon as the ball goes in the outfield, it doesn't matter. You can throw a grenade into the cutoff man, because the third baseman coach, he panics and sees that ball in the air, he automatically freezes.
Ibar chops it again foul. It's 0-2. Okay, so now Williams ahead again. No balls and 2 strikes. Was unable to put away Albert Pujols. Was able to get Mike Trout to fly out to center. Now he's got Ibar, who's had a good year, 266, with 6 home runs and 52 runs batted in. Ruiz wants it up. And it's up back to the mound. They're going to go home for one. Now to first. Oh, it hits the runner. Pujols is around third. He's heading home. And now they're going to say he's out at first. Good call, Matt. They're going to say that Eric Ibar was in Carlos Ruiz's path to throw. It'll be a double play, and the inning is over. I don't know what was right. Was it to come home instead of going to second? But it was hit sharp enough that he could make a decision on both. And Ibar is out of the baseline.
Has to be out.
Yep. He's on the grass, and he didn't start going into the base path until a step before the bag, and he needs to establish the baseline prior to that spot.
That is a 100% great call by Estabrook right there.
Estabrook will walk away. He's not going to ask for help. He made the right call. We'll go to the second. Seattle Mariners on Monday night at Citizens Bank Park. It's a 7:05 first pitch. So little interleague play reaches Philadelphia once again. It'll wrap up on Wednesday at 1:05. It's a Citizens Bank Business Person Special and a Model Sporting Goods. Kids run the bases. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Well, another look at the play. And again, the base runner needs to establish the baseline in the baseline more than a step before. See, he's just a step from the bag. And the umpires will call that every time. So he's on the grass, on the edge of the grass. He needs to be in that box going up the line.
And I think if he would have stayed where he originally started, he was on the dirt.
Right.
And then he veered out into the grass and then came back in. And that's when Chooch hit him in the elbow with it. Socha wasn't very happy, but if he goes back and watches the replay, he'll see it was the right call.
Yeah, umpires will call. I mean, we've seen it happen with the Phillies. Chase Utley is the best at something like that, where he gets into the baseline. Out toward left field. Playable for Josh Hamilton. Matt, was it a big deal that Jerome Williams came home instead of going to second? I guess it's basically 6-1, half dozen another. I mean, he cuts the lead runner off at least.
Well, he did the right thing. Whenever a comebacker goes back to pitch, you always go the 1-2-3 double play, because at least if you don't get the double play, you still get the lead runner at home plate. He almost got caught in between. He was facing towards first base, threw sidearm to home plate, but hit Chooch with a very solid throw.
But that Chooch was kind of caught a little bit too, because he was trying to get it around the base runner.
Plus, he had the bat in front of home plate as well.
Here's Marlon Byrd with one out, and he takes a strike. Marlon 6 for 25 on the homestand. Kind of interesting. Howie Kendrick was on the left side of the infield with the first pitch, and then immediately shifted to the right side of the infield, back to his normal side when the second pitch came in. And how about that? The ball goes right to him. I don't know if that's good scouting or if it's just pure luck or what.
Well, usually as a guy who's a pull hitter and you have the shift, you want them to try to beat the shift. So for Ryan Howard's hitting, you want him to try to hit the ball to third base. At least you're keeping the ball in the ballpark. Now I think with the way Wilson throws with that two-seamer, Ibar probably scoot over there a little too quick too early. Or I'm sorry, Kendrick.
So with 2 outs, Dominic Brown put on a heck of a display during batting practice. He was killing the ball out to right field into the seats over the scoreboard and that big high wall in right field going out to right center. Right out into probably the middle section of those 5.
Well, one thing about this stadium, the ball carries very well in the daytime. At nighttime, you have to hit it very good to get out of here.
To the left side, Ibar. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for C.J. Wilson. Well, the Phillies aren't really making him work so far in these first 2 innings. He hasn't allowed a base hit just yet. We'll go to the bottom of the second in the scoreless game. On CSN, and Michael Barkan could discuss your tweet on Philly Sports Talk, presented by Comcast Business tonight at 5 on Comcast Sportsnet. Not only that, if you want to check in on the Eagles and all the Eagles action, you can log on to csnphilly.com. Howie Kendrick will lead it off. Kendrick with 128 hits this year, hitting .280 with 4 home runs. Let me tell you, Matt Stairs, this is one of the better vantage points that we're ever going to have. It's kind of like we're outside. Outside corner, or just off the outside corner, 1-1. It's a beautiful night. We're down low in the second section. I guess you would call this sort of the mezzanine section. Ground ball to third. Do you like hitting here at this ballpark? I know day games you didn't like it.
Yeah, daytime I had a hard time because the rocks in center field.
Yeah.
You know, and a few years ago, before they redid the batter's eye, You know, there was a sign out in center field in the parking lot.
In the parking
lot with lights at nighttime, which was hard. You saw it, so that's why they put the extension for the batter's eye in center field.
Oh, wow. There's Brennan Bosch, who's just back. See, for me, looking at it, I can see that the rocks could be a problem because they're lighter for day games. But, man, that lush grass right there, that must be a heck of a backdrop.
Never used to have that. It used to be solid, like a hard platform.
To the right side, Utley, who was on the edge of the outfield grass, throws out Bosch. Man, the game's just gotten easier and easier since you left it.
I just made it hard look when I played.
Two outs, and David Freese will be the hitter. David Freese playing third base. Phillies did not see him the last time they faced the LA Angels. I thought he would be a fixture in the St. Louis lineup for his entire career. Traded to the Angels this year. Two balls and no strikes to Freese. I want to talk about a postseason hero. David Freese was a postseason hero for the Cardinals, led them to a world championship.
Good defense, timely hitting, home runs. Jerome Williams on the mound, the way he has fun, reminds me of Livan Hernandez.
I thought you were going to say reminds you of Roberto Hernandez.
No.
That's in there. It's 2-2.
Good location on that changeup right there at 86.
And a called strike three. A 1-2-3 inning for Jerome Williams. He's allowed a couple hits in this ball game, but through two, he is not allowed a run. On to the third here in Anaheim. On to Phillies.com. Go to the fans section for all the information. And please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Matt, here's the question. On April 28, 2012, the Angels called up Mike Trout from the minors to replace what former Philly in the Angels outfield? Answer will be revealed a little later on. Just so you know, I saw this player's Angels jersey on a fan earlier tonight. There's Mike Trout. Mike did a sit down today for the pregame radio with Larry Anderson. Larry does an interview each and every night And Larry decided to interview Mike Trout today. And Larry said the first 3 minutes of the interview was Larry's saying, "We're here with Phillies outfielder Mike Trout." He kept saying it over and over again. Carlos Ruiz will lead it off. But it was an excellent interview. Mike, of course, grew up a Phillies fan. Larry did not ask him if he was his favorite Philly. Swing and a miss, 1 ball, 1 strike.
So with your hint for the stump, I just have to look around at all the jerseys.
Yeah,
and
you got to look all around the ballpark.
Okay.
I will tell you, you probably won't have to look too far. One ball, 2 strikes to Ruiz. Unless he moved his seat. Swing and a miss. Ruiz is struck out. First strikeout for C.J. Wilson. And 1 out for Darren Ruff. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, an update from Atlanta where the Dodgers and the Braves battled tonight. Dodgers won it 4-2. Dodgers now lead the West by 5.5 over the Giants, and Atlanta is now 4.5 back of the Washington Nationals. Actually 5 back. Washington has just defeated the Mets 7-1.
0-8 on a road trip will do that for you.
This race has taken on a totally different personality. 1 ball, 1 strike to Darren Ruff, starting tonight at first base. 1 for 6 on the homestand. His 1 was a home run. Swing and a miss. Well, he's putting himself in good pitchers counts, and he's got a really good fastball tonight, C.J. Wilson. Haven't seen the knuckleball yet, though.
No, you're probably going to see that slider down and in right here.
Oh, yeah, we saw it down and in. It hit him. Second base runner for the Phils.
It's actually a cutter, 88-mile-an-hour cutter, trying to get it down and in, cutter slider, and right on the shin bone. We got ice, Tom. Be all right.
Been a lot of ice going around.
There is.
There is Andres Blanco making his 6th start of the year. Sort of ate up the catcher, Chris Iannetta. Inside, 2-0. Blanco's hitting .333. Actually getting some more playing time because he's hitting the ball so well. He's playing excellent defense. And Ryan Sandberg decided to start him against the lefty tonight instead of Cody Ashe. That one's in there, 3-1. Blanco taken all the way. Thought it may have been ball 4. Well, he's trying to strike first. Mentioned they've lost 7 straight to the Angels. They're averaging a little less than 2 runs per game during those 7 games. Out to shortstop, that might be 2. Well, C.J. Wilson is throwing strikes tonight. He's also rolling double play balls. That's the second one of the game. No runs, no hits, nobody left. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd in a scoreless ball game. To you by McDonald's. Any size hot or iced coffee is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. By the Pennsylvania Lottery, benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. And by Chevrolet, visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Bottom of the third, Jerome Williams has 2 scoreless innings under his belt. C.J. Wilson has 3 scoreless innings under his belt. And Chris Iannetta will lead it off. Iannetta hitting number 9 tonight. 260 hitter, 5 home runs, 31 runs batted in. Swings at the first pitch. Yeah, there's one. Well, 2 1/3 does not make a quality start, but he is continuing to be down in the strike zone. Now let's see what happens, Matt, when he goes through the lineup a second time.
Well, he's been around. He's somewhat of a veteran. He knows how to pitch. And basically he's thrown fastballs majority of the time so far in the game. He's mixing in the odd slider, the odd changeup. So I'm assuming he's going to stay with the game plan. Maybe mix more fastballs into left-handers and try to get that swing and miss slider down and in.
Here's Cole Calhoun. He singled his first time up, and he takes a strike. This guy's been a very good addition to the Angels out of Arizona State and Yavapai College, the same school that produced Ken Giles. Calhoun's a little older than Kenny Giles. They did not play together at Yavapai. First base, and Darren Ruff will take it to the bag. After the Phillies wrap up their 3-game series against the Seattle Mariners, they'll play the St. Louis Cardinals at Citizens Bank Park. It's a 3-game set, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The giveaway on Sunday is the ShopRite Back to School gym bag. That's for fans 14 and under. Tickets can be purchased anytime by going to Phillies.com. Here is Mike Trout. Fly to center his first time up. What was that note you said before that he's their leading hitter since the All-Star break, and he's only hitting 260?
260. He's the top hitter for the Anaheim Angels since the All-Star break in 23 games at 260. Now, before the All-Star break, they had 8 hitters, 290 or above. So when they say hitting is contagious, well, they're slumping.
Well,
it is contagious.
And you look at their overall numbers. They lead the league in extra base hits. They lead the league in runs. They're 4th in the league in batting average, 5th in on-base percentage. But as Mike Scioscia will tell you, those numbers are a little different since the All-Star break. They're at the bottom of the American League in just about every category. And Mike Trout needs a new bat. Part of it is Josh Hamilton. He hasn't homered yet here at the Big A. He's been somewhat inconsistent. Albert Pujols has 11 doubles since the All-Star break. But his numbers are down. This guy's still on pace, though, for 100 runs scored and 100 RBIs. 2-2 pitch on the outside corner. Another 1-2-3 inning for Jerome Williams. Second strikeout looking. We have played our first 3 here in Anaheim, and the debut for Jerome Williams is going quite well at this point. Of Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup packs keeps you running and provides fan base satisfaction. Order by 11:30 and get free same-day delivery. Who button? W.B. Mason. Well, 3 in the books. Pitcher's duel right now. C.J. Wilson is not allowed a hit. He's allowed 2 base runners, but he's erased both with double plays, so he's faced the minimum. Ben Revere will lead it off. He grounded out his first time up. It'll be Revere, Rollins, and Chase Utley. First pitch is over. It's 0-1.
All right, Tom, my turn to ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you like interleague play? Do you like the American League or National League?
Well, I like the National League.
You like the National League?
Yeah, I've been, I've watched the National League my entire life. I've done National League games for my 14 years in the big leagues. But I don't mind interleague play. I wish it would be less. I prefer it not to be, one series each series of the season. I liked it the way it was before. But, case in point, this is my first time here. I've never been to this ballpark. It's the last ballpark that I have to go to. So it's kind of neat to say that I've been to all major league ballparks. I'd like to see Mike Trout play. I'd like to see Pujols up close. But I would prefer National League baseball. And I'd prefer a little less interleague play. Now there's the first hit for the Phils, a single to lead off the 4th. How about you?
I've always been a diehard American League player. Love the DH. I honestly got to believe that I'm starting to lean towards I enjoy watching the National League. It just seems like there's more things going on. American League is you write the lineup up and that's it. Where National League, it seems like there's more strategy.
Yeah, the bullpen, as you see the Phillies interleague numbers all time, the bullpen, although needed, it doesn't seem to get used I don't think as much as National League. You see the Angels numbers, which are incredible. Yeah, I would have assumed that you would like the American League partly because of your role as a potential DH in the American League.
Well, I mean, majority of the time, when I was doing well way back when, I had a chance to play the outfield and DH. But then all of a sudden you go to the other teams, and it was nice to mix in a start once in a while. Like it's great for whoever gets a chance to DH tonight. Or I guess Ryan Howard's DHing, but Darren's in the game, so it gives him a chance to get 4 at-bats. I think it's good interleague play for bench guys because you get a chance, and you might get a chance to get 8 at-bats in the next 2 games if you're swinging the bat well.
And you don't want to be a bench player in the American League.
No.
Particularly your role as a pinch hitter.
You get a real bad splinter. Real bad.
No balls, 1 strike to Rollins. Revere leads off first. Revere has stolen 32 bases this year. And it's 1-1. Murph, what about Ryan Sandberg? He was a National League player his whole life. He played an all-star game here in the old stadium before they refurbished it. What does he think?
Well, he was talking a little bit about that before the game. He was actually talking about who has the advantage when it comes to in an American League park, a National League team coming in, who has an advantage because the National League teams, they don't use the DH, obviously, for most of the season. And he said he really thinks it depends on your team and who you've got sitting there on your bench. As you take a look at the numbers this season for the Phillies, 238 in games that they've used the DH. Home runs, just 1, 3 RBIs, and all time not a whole lot better, although 25 home runs and 74 RBIs. But he said ultimately, he thinks the American League does have an advantage because at the end of the day, their general managers are paying for that position. They're thinking about it in the offseason. They're bringing in a guy to be their designated hitter, whereas a National League team is looking for guys who can help them off the bench in different ways. So when a National League team comes to an American League park, you got to give the nod to the American League having an advantage.
And you would agree with that, Matt?
Oh, for sure. And you go into say you're going to go to Boston and play the Red Sox, and you're going to have Big Papi as your DH, and then I'm not going to say any names off our team because it'd be disrespectful, but I mean, you're going to have a stronger, you're going to have an extra bat, but the National League doesn't build around a guy who's an everyday player off the bench who can fill in for that spot.
Rollins lays off. It's 2-2. Rollins walked his first time up. I think you also ask the National League players, like if you ask Ryan Howard, he's happy to be in the lineup, but he would prefer to play and not be the DH. Just because of, what he usually goes through during the course of a game.
And when you DH, you think about hitting way too much.
Rollins stays alive again. C.J. Wilson has thrown over to first a number of times. For left-handed pitchers, normally left-handed pitchers are difficult to run against. Well, C.J. Wilson is among the easiest to run against. Opposition has stolen 101 bases all time against him. He's varied his looks over to first. There's a step off and a throw. Two balls, two strikes to Rollins. And he fouls another one. I guess Revere's not getting good looks at Wilson because I think against most pitchers, he would have been gone by now. See, the base stealers are 6 for 12 against Wilson this year. Revere goes. Pitch is chopped foul again. We invite you now to tweet your photo using hashtag #PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Might receive some photos from this series against the Angels. The Fanatic in town. Two balls, two strikes. Revere doesn't go this time. The pitch is low, 3-2.
Now we'll have some action. A little hit and run, or running hit, I should say.
There he goes. Pitches again, hit foul. Everybody in the Angels dugouts had to move at least once on these foul balls by Rollins. Nine pitches already. He's fouled 6 off.
It's a little different atmosphere in this ballpark compared to home. It's a little quieter here.
It is quiet. It's peaceful. It's quiet. Yes. Another foul ball. Dodger Stadium's a little louder than this place, don't you think?
It is.
They are drawing well. I mean, as we said, they're within reach in the American League West. They're atop the wild card. Another throw over. Runner goes, and the pitch is chopped toward third. Freeze has a play at first, and that's it. Rollins is retired. The Phillies have a runner in scoring position for the first time tonight. So one away. Chase Utley's coming up. Oh, by the way, we've talked about these numbers. About 3 weeks ago, those numbers were even closer. The National League had pulled, I think it was within 7 games of the American League. Well, that's changed just a little bit The American League has an advantage 132 to 110 over the National League. The overall numbers are somewhat similar, and they're closer than they have been in past years. Utley hit into a double play his first time up. He takes strike one. It's 0-1.
I'll tell you what I should do is bring those Canadian guys that were in Philadelphia to this ballpark.
All of them?
They'd liven it up. I tell you what, they have sent me emails and texts saying how impressed they were with the ballpark at home.
Oh, really?
The workers, the people, the fans, the ballpark. Unbelievable.
Off the end of the bat, up the third base line. Freeze. Flips over to first. Not in time. The throw is high. Revere's over at third. And that'll be a base hit, an infield single. And the Phillies have first and third with one man down.
It's a little squibbler right off the end of the bat, and Freeze makes a good play, but heads up base running by Ben, reading that they have no chance at third base, and the hustle out of the batter's box causes the throw to be wild.
That throw was high, but I still think Utley would have beat it, yeah. So a single for Chase. And now it'll bring Ryan Howard to the plate with runners on first and third. Fly ball should give the Phillies the lead. .72 runs batted in, third most in the National League for Howard. Outside corner. Only 2 career at bats for Howard against C.J. Wilson. Ryan has been better against left-handers overall than right-handers, and you can see that 25 RBIs against left-handed pitching, and that leads all National League hitters. No balls, 2 strikes. Exaggerated that hold. He wanted Marvin Hudson to see that it did not go across. He did not break his hands. It's 1-2.
Yeah, good call.
He inched it back even more after he took his hand off it. Out toward left field. This is deep enough to score the run. Hamilton settles under it. Revere tags. He'll head home as the throw goes to second, and the Phillies have a 1-0 lead. RBI number 73 for Ryan Howard. So the Phillies strike first, and they get the first run of the game here in the top of the 4th.
That's a good at bat by Ryan. He almost swings at a slider low and away. Almost got the point where he says, I want to back it up a little bit, not try to do too much. Slider outer, that's a pretty good slider, low and away. And he does a nice job of cutting his swing down and just putting the ball in play. He's big enough and strong enough. Put the ball in the outfield, and good things happen for the sac fly.
So now Marlon Byrd with a runner at first. Byrd takes outside. It's 1-0.
That's the thing I've noticed with Ryan over the last couple of weeks is that with 2 strikes versus left-handers, he has backed off on his swing. It seems like he's trying to let that ball get deep and rely on hitting the ball to left center, because he's taken some very good swings and just missed pitches. And then all of a sudden the pitcher makes mistakes and he drives it up left center, like in, for grand slams or 3-run home runs. That's why he's having good success this year, RBI wise versus left-handers, because he's backed off some.
Yeah, 26 RBIs now against left-handed pitching. 1 ball, 1 strike to Byrd. Outside, 2-1. The goal there was to get that run home any way, shape, or form. Out towards center field. Trout makes the catch. Phillies do get a run on a sac fly by Ryan Howard. RBI number 73, middle of the fourth. Ryan and the Phils lead the Angels 1-0. Honda. Visit your local Delaware Valley Honda dealer. ShopHonda.com. Buy Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And buy the Quality Plus Ford stores. Go further. Last of the fourth, 1-0 Phillies on top on a sac fly by Ryan Howard. Well, Mike Schmidt action. Seen a number of Phillies jerseys in the crowd. In fact, during batting practice today, there were rows of people behind the Phillies dugout looking for some autographs from their favorite Phillies player. Folks who are transplanted Philadelphians or out here on vacation. It's actually a great trip if you want to make it. You come out here to Anaheim, a couple games, maybe then head north if you want to take the long trip to San Francisco to see the Phils and the Giants this weekend.
Don't think I've ever seen a 5-day road trip, 5-game road trip with a day off in between.
Out west as well. That ball is drilled. Got to stay on your toes when Albert's up. 514 career home runs, 1,570 RBIs. Two balls and 2 strikes to Pujols. He walked his only time up. Not the best hitter in baseball anymore, but still one of them, Matt.
One of the most dangerous ones. One of the dirtiest ones too.
Not a bad idea.
Nope. And that man right there does not care. He will throw inside. I've known it because he did that to me before.
And he's right back on the mound, ready to go. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Pujols. Hits it out to shortstop. Rollins with a nice easy hop. Two outs for Josh Hamilton.
When's the last time we saw a pitch like that to Albert? To any pitch this year from a pitcher, knocking somebody down.
Yeah, it's not something that you see that we've seen that often. In fact, we talked about it even, was it Sunday with Schmitty?
Yep.
He talked at length about it. I know you and Jamie have talked about it quite often. Larry talks about it on radio all the time. In fact, who was it yesterday? It was David Buchanan did it yesterday to David Wright.
Yes.
And the reaction from Jamie in the booth was just, it was what you would expect from a pitcher who needed to pitch inside from time to time to be effective.
Who was the right-handed hitter that he hit square in the numbers?
Lagares?
Lagares. On the plane, I told Buchanan, I said, the best pitch you threw the whole day was that one he wore right in the numbers.
On the infield, in foul territory. Now in fair territory, Utley puts it away. 2 outs. Time now for our Mazda leaders. Mike Scioscia, 15 seasons as the skipper of the LA Angels of Anaheim. They've had a handful of different names while he's been here, but he is the longest tenured manager in baseball. Ron Gardenhire, during the All-Star game in Minnesota, was asked once about being the longest tenure, and he said, no, Mike Scioscia. And he knew exactly how many more years. He said 2 more years.
Problem is, though, Scioscia signed a 10-year deal a few years ago.
Look for a little stability.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's a lot of what the Angels have done. They've done under his tenure. That ball is lined out to shortstop. It's a base hit for Eric Ibar. And he's aboard. And that'll be the 3rd hit of the day. The first one since the first for the Angels. Well, Mike Scioscia was an excellent hitter, Murph, except when it came to facing our buddy Larry Anderson.
Well, you're absolutely right about that, Tom. He had over 4,300 at-bats for the Los Angeles Dodgers, did Mike Scioscia, and over 1,100 hits. But he was talking to Larry Anderson today. You mentioned that he went over to interview Mike Trout, and he and Scioscia started to talk, and he said, pointed to Larry, he said, one guy I could never get a hit off of was Larry Anderson. And Larry said he had no idea, but they went and they looked up the stats, the two of them did, and 0 for 17 was Mike Scioscia against our own Larry Anderson. Now, just 1 strikeout and 1 walk, 16 balls put into play, but 0 for 17, never got a hit off of Larry. And then he went on to say, talk about not being able to get a hit off a guy who had nothing. I'm sure Larry appreciated that part.
No, well, he laughed while he was down there, but you're right, he may not have appreciated it.
He went upstairs scratching his head.
Yeah. Kendrick takes on the inside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. Larry's pretty good-natured about that kind of stuff. He said, was it Scioscia had Larry's name on his baseball card as toughest pitcher to face? Is that what it was, Murph, or was it Sandberg?
Well, he did. Sandberg did.
Sandberg, that's
Anderson.
right.
But Mike Scioscia did not. And Larry couldn't figure out why he didn't, because he was 0 for 17 against him. So perhaps he should have as well.
Larry's going to collect all of Mike Scioscia's baseball cards and make sure he puts his name on the back of them. 1 ball, 1 strike to Howie Kendrick. He grounded to third his first time up. This one out to shortstop. And Rollins will just flip to Utley. Another easy inning for Jerome Williams. Well, he's kind of picked up right where Roberto Hernandez has left off. We've played 4. We'll go to the 5th. Phillies up 1-0. Stump the Fans trivia quiz answer. Okay, Matt, I know you wrote down your answer. On April 28, 2012, the Angels called up Mike Trout to replace what former Philly in the outfield?
That'd be a young Bobby Abreu.
A young Bobby Abreu?
He's younger than I am.
Well, that's true. All right, so a young Bobby Abreu, that is correct. Bobby Abreu was just designated for assignment by the Mets. Did he retire, John Reynolds? Did he officially retire from the game? John Reynolds, our stage manager, providing information. That's the word on the street, JR says. So did you see the Bobby Abreu jersey in the crowd, Matt? Or
no, I was just looking for it.
Well, he was down there, and he just went up to the concession stands, I believe. 2 balls and no strikes to Dominic Brown. Down the left field line, out of play. It's only the second foul ball for somebody other than Jimmy Rollins against C.J. Wilson. Ryan Howard had a foul ball. Dominic Brown has one here. Dominic sends it out to left field. Josh Hamilton ventures back. What away. Well, it's time now for our Geico quote of the day, and this quote comes from Mike Scioscia on C.J. Wilson's struggles. This is probably the worst C.J. has struggled since he's been a starting pitcher, so naturally we're concerned. But seeing how hard he worked, seeing that it doesn't look like it's anything physical, we're very confident he's going to get back to that beam and do what we need him to do. I guess you would expect that he would get back to where they want him to be. But his last 6 starts, he's given up 29 earned runs and 43 hits in 23 2/3. To our right, now to play. That is a lot of hits per innings pitched.
That is a lot of missed targets, making mistakes. It shows you how important that slider is to him.
One ball, 2 strikes. To right center field. This is playable. Boy, I know you said this is a hitter's ballpark during the day. It is a big yard.
It's a graveyard at nighttime. That's why a lot of times the outfielders will play more towards the line, and they haven't done it tonight. But any ball that's hitting the gap, it just hangs up. And that's why they've always had a really fast center fielder here. Can run left center, right center, run those balls down easily. And that's why they play so shallow. They get away with it.
Darren Ruff is the batter. Ruff was hit by a pitch his first time up. Swing and a miss. It's 0-1. 390 to the alley in left center field. A little shorter in right center, but then they got the extra 8 feet of fence out there. There's that high wall. Home run needs to go over the second. See the yellow line, the second level of fencing. Tell you on a Major League scoreboard, the Athletics have finally cooled off the Kansas City Royals. Big headline on the Kansas City paper said, "Ladies and gentlemen, your Royals are in first place." Well, maybe not anymore, as they have been defeated by the Angels 11-3, or by the A's, excuse me, 11-3. The Royals were half game up over the Tigers coming into tonight. Royals picked up Josh Willingham today, or yesterday, in a trade. And there's a base hit to right field for Darren Ruff. So he's aboard, a 2-out single.
Who got him? The Royals did?
Kansas City Royals picked up the hammer. Josh Willingham.
It's a good pickup.
Yeah, his numbers aren't great this year, but you know he could help.
He's a veteran.
They went from one of the youngest teams in baseball probably about 2 months ago to one of the oldest teams in baseball because of the addition of Raul Ibanez. And now, of course, Josh Willingham. Blanco hits one out towards center, playable for Trout. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left for the Phillies. C.J. Wilson works around a 2-out single. We played 4.5 with the Phils on top, 1-0. Citizenship brought to you by Citizens Bank. With more than 6 million people in the greater Philadelphia region, there's ample opportunity to help. Build houses, volunteer, or be a mentor. Visit citizensbank.com/community to learn more. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal. And that's helping you bank better. Good banking is good citizenship. 1-0 Phillies as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. So there are Philly fans scattered everywhere, including the Philly fanatic, who was out on the field a couple innings ago and even before the game. Brennan Bosch will lead it off. Bosch, as we mentioned, back in the big leagues as of today. Only 3 of 14 in the big leagues this year, but tearing it up at AAA. 326 with 22 home runs. Down the right field line, that's a broken bat. Bird comes in, makes the catch. Boy, he really cut that angle off. One out.
I mean, it's just the initial jump that he gets. He just recognizes that the ball's pulled. And for him, he's not the quickest guy, but he gets great jumps. And that's why he gets the balls like that very easily. You very, very, very rarely see him. That was a lot of berries there.
You were just trying to get your point across.
I was on pause. I was on kind of fast, whatever. But he gets great jumps, and that's why you barely see him slide, because he gets tremendous jumps.
All right, you used 6 berries in that statement. Impressive. You're not allowed to use any more. You're done for the night. Freeze to shortstop. Rollins up with it. 2 outs here in the 5th.
I was thinking to myself, am I ever going to stop saying that word?
Yeah, there's always words that all of us can stop saying eventually.
Oh, isn't there? Especially like the day on the golf course today.
Yeah, you can't say those words on television now.
You can't say 4?
Oh, well, yeah. Here's Chris Iannetta, batting 9th today. Grounded out to Rollins his first time up. These guys are coming out hacking right now. mention that Williams pitched for the Angels from 2011 through 2013. He won 19 games. And I'm not sure if his distribution of outs, which are very good tonight, if this was his pattern, but I would think it was pretty close. And hit the bag. Oh, what a play by Darren Ruff. Wow, that was outstanding. Great reactions. 3-1 on the putout. The side is retired in order. A couple of ground balls. One was much easier than the other. Just got to stay with it, everybody. Off the bag, and Darren Ruff, very athletic and plenty of time with Williams covering. And the Angels are retired in order for the third time tonight. The winning. Is the winningest manager in franchise history. Charlie Manuel arrived in Philadelphia in 2005 and over the next 9 seasons accumulated 780 wins, 5 consecutive division titles, 2 National League pennants, and the organization's 2nd World Series championship. The 70-year-old from West Virginia had a major impact during his run in Philadelphia. And now the skipper during the best era of Phillies baseball is a permanent fixture on the club's Wall of Fame. Charlie's special honor is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, there is usually a time during the course of a ball game where the fanatic will dance on the dugout. It's just not usually in the opponent's ballpark like it is tonight. You know, the fanatic getting a chance to dance around. There's Mark Kubica, an outstanding pitcher during his time in the big leagues. A guy who grew up a Phillies fan. That is a fanatic bank that he's had for a number of years. I don't even remember when they sold that bank, but he has it up on his telecast tonight. He said it still makes noise when you put the coin in. It's not noise every single time, but you still make noise. Pictures with the fanatic. One away here in the top of the 6th. On the inside corner, no balls, 1 strike to Rollins. Rollins is grounded to third. He's also walked. That one's toward the hole. Diving stop, Freeze quickly to his feet. It's an outstanding play. 2 outs.
That was a nice play going to his left, couple steps in the dive, but if you notice when he throws right there, he continues falling over to get his momentum more on the ball because he kind of threw open a little bit towards first base, and as he threw, he just fell forward and he gave him more behind the throw.
I don't know how he's able to control it as well as he did in that spot.
Well, majority of third basemen now throw at a bad angle from over there. It's almost like they almost get like a lazy arm slot when they come across it because they can think they can just kind of flip it over there with a little bend, left to right action, like my draw.
think it's also they have to rush it so quickly, you know, because the guys are, they're faster.
Yep.
Just to buy it a couple extra seconds, they're trying to get rid of it quicker, so their angles are a little different. One ball, one strike to Chase Utley with the dirt, and it's 2-1. Down the left field line, that'll slice out of play. And Utley now has the count even, 2-2. That's the pitch I would think is concerning for a left-handed hitter when he drops down like that. I mean, that wasn't a strike, but it left his hand and it just never made its way to the plate. Three balls, two strikes to Utley. And there's ball four, so he's aboard a 2-out walk. Second walk issue tonight for C.J. Wilson. Comcast Sports Center, the Eagles have teamed up to give away a pair of lower level 2014 Eagles season tickets. To enter to win, just go answer this week's poll question. What is your game day ritual? At PhiladelphiaEagles.com/CSN Philly. Wilson has walked two. He's hit one. That one's hit back toward the middle off the leg of C.J. Wilson. And he's going to leg it out for a hit. It goes right on by Albert Pujols. Utley goes to third, and he's being held there by Pete Mackanin. Well, that was as silly a decision as you're going to see on a baseball diamonds by a pitcher who had no shot to throw out a batter. It's going to be a base hit, and then Utley advances on the E1.
Yeah, I mean, I know the scouting report is that Ryan Howard's not the quickest runner, but this is just trying to do too much. You can see Albert coming off and doesn't even want to throw.
He was not expecting C.J. Wilson to throw that ball. I don't know where he was running to, but he was not expecting C.J. Wilson to throw that ball. I don't think anybody was. Well, he's okay. Iannetta went out just to check on him. Nobody else came out to attend to him. See if the Phillies can capitalize on this break and add another run. Up 1-0 here in the top of the sixth. I think the Angels got a break too, because that padding, or the signage down the right field line, which that hit, is padded pretty heavily, and it seemed to deaden it. Yeah. And there's a line drive, base hit to left field. Utley will score, and the Phillies take a 2-0 lead. An RBI for Marlon Byrd, 67th of the season. Back-to-back hits for the Phils. 5 hits overall. And here's Dominic Brown.
And even with that error by C.J. Wilson, he still would have scored in this, an off-speed pitch hit off the end of the bat, and nice little fillet left field for RBI. A big 2-out knock.
Did you say fillet?
A fillet.
I like that. Oh, and 1 to Dominic Brown.
Filet sounds pretty good right now.
You'll probably be able to find a place open that'll serve you filet. I'm sure you could find a place open that'll serve you Filet-O-Fish.
Filet-O-Fish.
One ball, one strike to Dominic Brown. Phillies on top 2-0 here in the 6th. And a throw behind Ryan Howard, and that hits him.
Ryan Howard had a secondary lead of about 8 feet.
Maybe Iannetta was throwing at him because he hit C.J. Wilson with that ball back to the mound.
Oh, no.
Ryan flicked that away like it was a bug. Chopper right side. Pujols makes the play and flips to second just in time to get Marlon Byrd. Phillies tack on another run on an RBI single by Marlon Byrd. They lead 2. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Phillies up 2-0. On store for the ride of your life and save big today by Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF-NOW for an appointment. And by W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Bottom of the 6th inning. Beautiful night here in Orange County. Phillies first time they've played here in Anaheim since 2003. This ballpark has gone through some evolution too. It opened in '66. And for a number of years was also the home of the Rams from '80 to '94, and that was before they put the rocks in. It was a football, baseball, multi-purpose facility. Well, they changed all that. It holds 45,483. It was loud and is loud during the postseason, and the Angels hope they get back there this year. We'll go to the top of the order, and Calhoun, who's 1 for 2, will be the hitter. You know what Calhoun looks like in the batter's box? I'll let you think about it for a second. See if we're on the same page with this. I don't think he was a teammate of yours in Boston.
Let me think.
Deep down the right field line, hooking toward the pole. It is gone. It's a 2-1 ball game. Calhoun with his 12th home run of the season. He just slipped that right down the right field line. Second hit of the night. Phillies 2, Angels 1.
Chucha set up inside for a slider, and didn't really get in there far enough. And the little leadoff guy got his arms extended with some power, and it was 12th home run of the year right there.
So now Mike Trout.
You're thinking Brad Fulmer?
Well, Brad Fulmer's a good guess. No, I wasn't thinking him, but that's a good guess. I was thinking Darren Bragg. 1-1 to Trout. 12 home runs. Who said he's been a shot in the arm? He has been. One ball and 2 strikes to Mike Trout. 0 for 2. He's flied to center. He struck out looking. See if Jerome Williams can get through this 6th inning. I mentioned he's only started 2 games this year. He just struck out Mike Trout for the 2nd time tonight.
I'm sorry, Tom. That's the pitch that is at Trout. A lot of problems lately is that his front side's leaking and fastballs out over the plate. He's just swinging either through it or over top of it. It just seems like he can't get, like, he's off balance. He's swinging. He doesn't have that drive where he had before. Plus, he's kind of arguing about the one fastball away, which now he thinks he has to expand the strike zone.
That one fastball away, that one right there, similar pitch. That might have been a little cutter.
That was a cutter, right? But that's a pitch where you take and then you kind of stand up straight. Like, how'd you call that a strike?
It's been a strike all night, really, and it's been a strike to Trout a number of times. Pujols walked and he grounded out to shortstop. He's 0 for 1. Phillies lead the Angels 2-1. Game 1 of this 2-game series. He may have just gotten away with one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Time for the cold hard fact. Here's Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, Tom, brought to you by Fresh Brewed Coors Light, and Albert Pujols is the subject. He's the only player in Major League history to hit 30 or more home runs in each of his first 12 seasons. He's also the only player to post 10 consecutive seasons with a 300 average, 30 doubles, 30 home runs, and 100 RBI in 10 consecutive seasons. You mentioned maybe not one of the best hitters in baseball anymore, but certainly for a long period of time, he was indeed.
That one's pulled to the left field, a base hit. A 1-out single. That'll bring Josh Hamilton to the plate. Well, he's got a chance. I mean, he has 30 doubles already, but he has 22 home runs. He's got a chance to hit that number again. I know it won't be in consecutive years, but that says an awful lot. 72 pitches for Jerome Williams. That may be it for him. Ryan Sandberg's heading out to the mound. He was up a little bit on that pitch right there. He's got Antonio Bastardo warmed up, and I do believe that he's going to go to the left-hander. So Williams, in his first start in a Phillies uniform, his night is complete. And the Phillies will lean on their bullpen. Antonio Bastardo is the first one out of the pen. We'll be back after this. favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, and audio. Free MLB.tv Game of the Day and much more. Download on the App Store. Visit Phillies.com today. It's a 2-1 lead. The Phillies on top. One out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Ryan Sandberg has gone to his bullpen. Jerome Williams exits. And Matt, his pitches were starting to get up a little bit. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. He looked like he was getting tired. Which is sometimes I try to figure out when guys get tired, they should throw more fastballs. And he was getting tired. He was getting under his slider. The home run to right field was the slider. Mike Trout just missed a hanging slider. Now the Pujols just missed a hanging slider as well. So right decision of getting him out of the game. I just wish he would have went back throwing more sinkers because it's hard to elevate a good sinker.
Well, he'll give way to Antonio Bastardo. His responsibility is still Pujols over at first. Pujols threw something at Williams as he was walking off the field, and they were laughing. I think it was because Williams threw him a bow tie in his last at bat. Josh Hamilton is 1 for 2. He singled his first time, popped up his second. One ball and no strikes to Hamilton. He was 1 for 12 in the series against the Red Sox. You see his numbers against lefties. Part of the idea of lifting Williams here and getting Bastardo in. Although Bastardo's thrown the first 2 out of the strike zone, it's 2-0. Oh, you have to be happy if you're Ryan Sandberg with what Williams did here tonight. And that's not to say that you want a starter going 5 1/3 every single time, but he hasn't pitched in about 10 days. He's only made 2 starts, so you're able to get 5 1/3 out of him and go to a bullpen. That's been good. Although Bastardo's behind 3-0. Just walked Hamilton on 4 pitches. Ibar is 1 for 2. He singled his last time up. Tying runners at second.
Well, Murph said before the game, the $1 million question is what we're going to get out of Jerome Williams. Well, a lot of good sinkers. He pitched well.
Fly ball left field. Dominic Brown back pedals. Makes the catch. All right, there are 2 outs. Yeah, a lot of sinkers, and I thought his velocity was better than what I had anticipated. Not that, we've seen a lot of him this year, but just reading the reports, he was able to sustain that velocity throughout his entire outing.
Well, we'll see his next outing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there will be a next outing, of course.
I think there has to be at this point, right?
How it's going to carry over, because he did come back. He's pitching against Anaheim, a team that he played here for a couple of years with. But no, I liked what I saw. He was down the zone with that sinker.
Right now, it looks like, unless they make some changes because of the off day on Thursday, it looks like he will start Monday's opener of that homestand against Seattle. Fastball is outside to Howie Kendrick with 2 outs. balls and no strikes. Line drive past the diving Rollins in the center field. Pujols around third. He'll head home. The ball cut off by Ruff. And we're tied up at 2. Josh Hamilton didn't even blink. He just kept on going from first to third.
When we talk about how important it is to get ahead, pitches down the middle, might have been a little low, but like you said, Tom, Hamilton didn't even think about slowing down at second base.
So Kedrick gets the RBI to tie it up, and now Colin Cowgill will come up as a pinch hitter. There's no righty warming up for the bullpen. Bastardo has given up the tying run. He walked one, got an out, and then allowed a line drive single. Cowgill swing at a foul tip. It's 0-1. Boy, he gets one hitter. He struggles with his command. He's the other hitter. He's able to fire strikes. Then he struggles with his command again, and now he just fires the first pitch strike to Cowgill. Cowgill on the year is hitting .270 for the Angels. Got 5 home runs. Down the right field line. Slicing toward the corner. Bird on the run, and he missed it. It's a fair ball, and it takes a hop into the crowd. Hamilton scores. Kendrick will have to go back to third. It's a ground rule double for Cowgill, and the Angels have taken the lead. He just overran that ball. A pinch ground rule double. Overran it.
We've seen that a couple of times. It happened back in Philadelphia early in the year where he has a good jump and just overruns it and misses it.
Bob McClure going out to talk to Bastardo. Well, for Jerome Williams, he'll get a no decision here tonight. And the Angels have the lead. They've scored 3 runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Jake Diekman still throws in the pen. Honestly, I know that he never touched that ball out in right field, but that could easily have been scored in error. I mean, it was a catchable ball. It should have been caught. I mean, I know the rule of thumb, if you're an official scorer, if he doesn't touch it. I'm not saying for all official scorers, for some.
This one, he always catches it with 2 hands. I'm just wondering. Right there, he kind of blocks himself out where he doesn't see the ball.
Here's David Freese. There's a strike. 0-1. Freese 0 for 2. Runners on second and third. Bastardo trying to get through this sixth inning. Up and in. 1-1. Kendrick leads off third. Cowgill off second base. That one is whacked fair down the left field line. Boy, this inning is just unraveling for the Phils. A 2-run double for Freese. And the Angels have put a 5 spot on the board here in the sixth inning. What a shame. It's 5-2 LA.
It's amazing how quick this game can change. You know, catch the right field, not play, and all of a sudden you come back with a fastball inside, and Freese smokes it down the left field line for a 2 RBI double.
Marvin Hudson was right on that, even though he was dancing around. Here's Iannetta. Second time tonight that Bastardo stepped off where he almost balked. Outside 2-0. Off the end of the bat, out toward right field. That'll drop for a hit. Bird comes fast. The throw to the plate is up the line. Another runner scored. And that'll be an error on Marlon Bird to allow Iannetta to get to second. And the Angels, dormant offensively in the second half of the season, have exploded here in the sixth inning for 6 runs. And Cole Calhoun, who started this inning off with a home run, gets a chance to bat the second time. Look at that. First 5 innings, 3 hits allowed. This sixth inning, 6 hits on 6 runs.
Just trying to figure out that ball that was hit to right field with Bird throwing home. Why Bastardo was backing up home like a throw was coming from left field.
Yeah, he wasn't anywhere near. He should have been shaded over toward the Angels dugout.
Right, but he was standing in between home plate and the visitors on deck circle. Throw's not coming from that way.
That's a good point. Terrible inning for the Phils. 6 runs, 10 men come to the plate, and the Angels aren't done. probably too often this year with Antonio Bastardo, particularly over the last month of the season, Matt. This is what you were talking about. Bird's throw to the plate. Bastardo he's nowhere near where he should be. Look where he is to the right. See, he's to the right of the circle.
And that's what I'm saying. The throw's up the line. So what? I mean, you're not going to make a perfect throw every time. But as a pitcher, you got to realize the ball hit the right field. Get to the right side of the field to back it up, to not allow that guy going to second base. Plus, you're saving your outfielder in there.
Yeah, and most runners would probably go to second, but that was Iannetta, the catcher. He's not the quickest of runners. There's Calhoun against Jake Diekman. Sweeps the slider outside. 1 ball, no strikes. His home run put the Angels on the board here in the 6th inning to start it. That was a 2-1 game at that point. Jerome Williams then got Mike Trout on strikes before Albert Pujols singled to left. That's when Williams was done. And then Bastardo walked Josh Hamilton on 4 pitches. That was probably an indication he did not have command tonight. Two 2-0. Numbers on Diekman 3-3. An ERA of 4.10.
And I'm not beating up on Bastardo, but when you go through a tough year of playing baseball, you have to, and they talked about the fundamental baseball. That's stuff that shouldn't happen. The ball down the right field line, Marlon Byrd should have caught.
Should have caught, yep.
Okay. It opens up the floodgates to score some more runs. But when you're not playing good baseball, you have to do whatever it takes to make it look better. And being in the wrong spot on a throw, to me is unacceptable.
Yeah, Kendrick had the single up the middle that tied this game up, and the ground rule double gave the Angels the lead, and he would have been out of the inning. But still gotta make your pitches and play the game the right way. Foul ball by Calhoun, and it remains 2-2.
Calhoun's a shorter guy, but he takes the type of swing he takes. He likes to get those arms extended. Usually guys who are shorter and stockier like to get that fastball inside. I'd like to see a good old 97, 98 mile an hour fastball inside.
Up the first base line, that'll go foul. Well, this would be considered a come from behind victory for the Angels. They were down 2-0. They have 34 come from behind victories, not counting tonight, which leads the American League, leads the Tigers by 3. Two-two pitch inside, 3-2. Mike Trout struck out earlier in this inning. it. Another run will score. Dominic Brown's throw is offline. Didn't matter anyway. Iannetta was moving pretty good. It's now 7-2. Two RBIs for Calhoun in the inning. And Mike Trout is the batter.
Just a fastball supposed to be away. It comes back towards the middle. Jams him enough and strong enough to get out the reach of Jimmy Rollins to left field for another RBI, 2-out RBI.
And Iannetta, who went to second on that throw that got away from Ruiz, that wasn't backed up behind home plate, scores easily. So now Trout is 0 for 3. And 0 for 1 in this inning. Fastball, he takes it for a strike. It's 0-1. And now Mario Hollins, the third lefty for the Phillies, starts to warm up.
Not real sure where that last slider was right there.
This has been a half hour, bottom of the 6th for the Angels. On the outside corner. 1-2.
I think Mike Trout has gone through his mind. Struck out once. Won't be the last try.
That one just misses. It's 2-2. Yeah, it's not often that Mike Trout strikes out 3 times in a game, let alone two times in 1 inning.
Be the first out and the last out on punch outs.
Inside, 3-2. Runner goes from first. Swing and a foul tip, and Trout strikes out twice in this 6th inning. That would normally be a good thing to get him on strikes, but when he's done it twice in an inning, you know it's been a long inning. 7-run score for the Angels. On to the 7th. The Phillies all of a sudden down 5. Well, the Fanatic visiting here in Anaheim for these 2 games. Let's take a look at their local Honda dealers game summary. Yep, the 7 runs in the 6th inning. It's the 4th time this year the Angels have scored 6 runs or more in an inning. Jerome Williams was good tonight, 5 1/3, 5 hits and 2 earned runs. C.J. Wilson has gone 6 so far. Now he'll just continue on as we go to the 7th inning. Cole Calhoun had 2 hits in the 6th inning. 7 runs on 7 hits. John McDonald's coming to play third base for the Angels. McDonald spent a little time with the Phillies last year. There's Carlos Ruiz. It'll be Ruiz, Darren Ruff, and then Andres Blanco against C.J. Wilson. Outside, 3-0. I don't know how you psychologically recover from an inning like that. If you're the Phillies, 7 runs on 7 hits. Stardo was bad. Marlon Byrd dropped a fly ball, which doesn't happen. Chopper foul. 3-2. Chopper to third. John McDonald in there for David Freese. And speaking of David Freese, Matt, it's time for our Hyundai defensive play of the game.
Well, come off the bat of Jimmy Rollins. A couple steps to his left. Gets up and throws a strike to first base to Albert Pujols. Gets it pretty easily. And David Freese is the defensive play of the game, brought to you by Hyundai.
Well, now 1 out. Here's Darren Ruff. Darren is singled. He's been hit by a pitch. Takes pitch low. 1 ball, no strikes. That one's pulled in the left, so Ruff is 2 for 2. And he's been on base 3 times tonight. Darren Ruff has finally gotten his average up to 200 with his 2 hits tonight. Jason Grilli warming up in the bullpen. That trade's turned out to help the Angels, wouldn't you say?
I would. On the field and off the field.
Ernesto Frieri went from here in L.A. to Pittsburgh in the trade that brought Grilli from Pittsburgh. One of those change of scenery deals.
Great teammate. Great locker guy. You see here how his little ritual before games, how he gets down on one knee and does like a little, I don't know what it is, a song, or screeches something out. It's impressive.
Blanco hits one foul past Pete Buchanan. 0-2. And a liner out toward right field. That'll drop for a base hit. Calhoun will play it on the hop. Ruff stops at second. Yeah, that'll put runners on first and second with 1 out. So it's time now for our AT&T fan photo of the game. This one comes from TJ Fiorillo. TJ provided this one. And this little guy never takes his cap off. Thank you, TJ. You can tweet your photo using hashtag #PhillyFanPhoto. I'm sure there's plenty of photos of the Fanatic that you can send in. Fanatic's just hanging over the fence in right field. Here's Ben Revere. He's 1 for 3. Breaking ball 0-1. Mike Scioscia pushing him a little bit here.
Well, he's at 103 pitches. He's on the ball pretty good tonight. You have a singles hitter up. I mean, he's what he's doing is he's showing the confidence in Wilson. Very easily he could have pulled the string and went to the bullpen right after the single by Blanco, but he's making the right decision.
Well, that foul ball, Ben seemed to cause some pain to that foot. Take a little extra time to get back in the box. Check swing. He went, says Marvin Hudson. I think the home plate umpire Mike Estabrook wanted to bring him up too. I thought he held up, but it's a strikeout, and here comes Mike Scioscia. And Scioscia's going to go to the bullpen and bring in Jason Grilli. So that's going to be it for C.J. Wilson. Wilson goes 6 2/3 tonight. The runners are his responsibility. A little bit of a confidence boost here for C.J. Wilson. He allows 2 runs on 7 base hits. His night is done. And the night is just beginning for the Angels bullpen. Jason Grilli coming on. They've got 2 runners on with 2 outs, and the Angels have decided to go to their bullpen and right-hander Jason Grilli. He's on in relief of C.J. Wilson. Grilli, 22nd ball game here in the American League, 22 strikeouts in 18 1/3. He was the Pirates' closer at one point. Then Mark Melancon took that role over, and Grilli, now he wasn't pitching all that well for the Pirates, so they traded him out here to the Angels for Ernesto Frieri. So he's on with Ruff at second base and Blanco at first.
Jason Grilli, fastball 92-95, slider, and a changeup. Best pitch is a sinker.
He was in the Phillies organization for a time. Clint Hurdle had him in Colorado, and when he became available, Clint needed a pitcher out in Pittsburgh, so he acquired him. He didn't do a whole lot when he brought him over, first of all, or wasn't expected to do a whole lot, but turned out to be a heck of a find. 1 ball, no strikes to Rollins. Rollins hits one down the right field line. That's out of play, and it's 2-1. Ruff and Blanco will go back on the move with 2 outs. Fanatic is still hanging out. He was trying to imitate a police officer during the pitching change. Well, he has his way around every ballpark. Doesn't matter where he is. Two balls and 1 strike. And Rollins fouls it back 2-2. Be nice if Rollins hit one right to the Fanatic.
Think he'd catch it or no?
Well, he's got some padding in those hands. Now we could get that photo later on this year. Runners lead off, and Rollins fouls it toward the upper deck.
They're going to do another pickoff at second base too. Ibar was sneaking in behind Darren at second base.
Just a bit outside 3-2, so the runners will be off. You know, Darren Ruff gets an excellent secondary lead off that bag at second. Looks around at the outfielders to see where they're playing. Andres Blanco signals to him, lets him know it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. The runners will be off. There they go, and the pitch fouled away. We'll do it again. Rollins had a long at bat earlier against C.J. Wilson. He's got a long one going here against Jason Grilli. Two runners are the responsibility of C.J. Wilson. Runners go again. Pitch is fouled again.
Look at Larry Anderson's booth.
Yeah.
Scott.
No, went right to the right of him. Ball. I think it would dawn on me that we could probably get something here in this booth.
No, it was in Larry's booth in Scott's.
Oh, it did go in the back of their booth?
Yep.
They didn't even flinch.
Poor effort by Larry.
no effort by Larry. How many pitches did Jason Grilli have?
3.
Okay.
He wants a slider down and in probably.
Runners go again. Pitches inside and low. Ball 4. That'll load up the bases. Phillies fantasy camp is open for business. If you're 30 years old or older, it's your chance of a lifetime. Call 610-320, or excuse me, 520-3400. 610-520-3400. Practice with or get instruction from the Bull, John Kruk, Mike Lieberthal, Mickey Morandini, Bob Boone, and the commish, Larry Anderson. It's from the 21st of January till the 25th, 2015 in Clearwater. 2 outs, and Chase Utley is the batter. Utley is 1 for 2. He singled, an infield single in the 4th. He walked in the 6th inning. Larry Anderson always raves about Phillies fantasy camp and how much fun it is to get to know some of the Phillies fans. Some go back for a second or even third opportunity. Weather's great, beautiful complex. Here's Utley with the bases loaded here in the top of the 7th. And Utley hits it in the air to left field. It's not deep. Hamilton's there. And the Phillies leave him loaded here in the 7th inning. No runs, 2 hits, and 3 men left. Well, the Fanatic is bringing some excitement to Anaheim. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th, 7-2 LA. Anaheim, not so much for the Phillies, who now trail at 7-2 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. And the Phillies have a few more home games coming up here in the month of August, including a 3-game series against the Washington Nationals, the first place Washington Nationals. Their lead is growing over the Atlanta Braves. 3-game series, all 3 night games, beginning August 25th, Monday, August 25th. Tickets can be purchased anytime by going to Phillies.com. Albert Pujols leads it off. Pujols singled in the 6th inning and scored. He's 1 for 2. Mario Hollins, 45th game, 2-1. An ERA of 4.12. Antonio Bastardo went a third. He allowed 5 runs, 4 earned. Jake Diekman went a third. He allowed 1 hit and one inherited runner to score. Pujols hits it off the end of the bat. No balls and 2 strikes. He hits it toward that area behind home plate. I've always thought, watching games on television, that those must be great seats. You're basically sitting field level. I don't know if they're good seats. They just look like they're good seats.
Kind of surprised the agent Boris isn't here. That's where he usually sits.
Chopper to third. Backing up on it is Blanco from the edge of the outfield grass. He has plenty of time. And there's 1 out. Time now for the Major League Notebook. Here's Greg Murphy. Murph.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Brought to you by Gwinnett Mercy University. One of the best pitchers in the game. Got some good news today. Justin Verlander, the Tigers, had an MRI on his ailing shoulder, and the results, no structural damage, just some inflammation. At this point, the team does not believe he'll need to go on the DL. And the Blue Jays also getting some good news and some offense back. Adam Lind is back in their lineup as of tonight, coming off of a 5-week hiatus from a fractured foot. And also, Edwin Encarnacion should also be coming back off the disabled list later this week. So 2 big bats getting back into that Blue Jays lineup, and they need them. They are 1.5 games out of a wild card spot right now in the American League. So that certainly will help the Toronto Blue Jays down the stretch, guys.
Yeah, 6 games back in the East, but they are within reach in the wild card. Murph, you're kind of at that level where those seats are. I mean, is it a good seat?
Oh, these are great seats. Now, yeah, you're talking about the seats right to my left, where they're actually below field level. And but I am right next to them, and man, you can see, from my angle, the best part about it is you can really see how hard these guys are throwing from field level. So it's a terrific spot.
Are you scared?
I am not scared.
Oh, okay.
I am hiding behind this net, so therefore I'm not scared.
I would have to think it's a good seat.
Yeah, unless you're really short, and then that wouldn't be a good seat.
Well, you can get a telephone book or something to sit on. Into the shift, Rollins on the right side, 6-3 on the putout. And there are 2 outs. And Eric Ibar will come up. He's 1 for 3. Ibar singled in the 4th inning. He and Trout made the 3 outs in the 6th inning. He flied to left. All was okay at that point. 1 run had scored, but that was it. There were 2 outs, runners on first and second, and then Howie Kendrick singled up the middle to tie the game. And then Colin Cowgill hit one to right field that was missed by Marlon Byrd. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Over to third. Chris Blanco. That ball kind of ate him up. Just kept on going toward his right foot. 1-2-3. Go the Yankees. We'll go to the 8th inning here in Anaheim. Toyota. The annual clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. We go to the top of the 8th inning. Matt, the Phillies are down to their final 6 outs. They had a 2-0 lead. This was a crisp ball game. This was one of those games that you start off a road trip with that can build some momentum. And then the Angels scored 7 runs in the 6th. Now their second relief pitcher, Fernando Salas, is on. 39th game for him.
3-pitch pitcher, fastball, curveball, slider. Good arm. Nice little slider. Tops out about 93 miles an hour. And Tom, you're right. Besides the 6th inning, we could have been sitting somewhere having a filet mignon.
A filet mignon. Jerome Williams pitched well in his debut. Allowed 1 run. Actually, I should say was charged with 2 runs, unfortunately. Antonio Bastardo, he did not pitch well. No. What does the ERA go from? What, 3.89
to
4.77?
Yeah, something like that.
0-1 to Howard. 1 ball, 1 strike.
4.56. Anaheim's got to be happy with the sell out of C.J. Wilson. Baby steps. Only walked 2 tonight, 7 hits.
Yeah, walked 2, hit 1 batter. Change up. That was a good one. 1 and 2. Phillies are going to go through their entire lefty roster in their bullpen. Cesar Jimenez now is warming up in the pen. Two and 2. Here's Cesar. And Howard is struck out. 1 away.
Wants to target down, elevated fastball, inner half, and swung through it. Good pitch to hit, actually. Just he swung on underneath it.
So now Marlon Byrd is 1 for 3 at an RBI single in the 6th inning. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Fernando Salas was did a pretty nice job for the St. Louis Cardinals before he went on to the Angels. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Salas has a sneaky fastball. He has a nice, easy delivery. Doesn't overpower you. His fastball's pretty straight, but next thing you know, you're swinging late every time. And he has that good changeup to get guys out.
Outside. Fly ball, shallow center field. And the shortstop Ibar is under it, makes the catch, and there are 2 outs. Coming up after the game, a full recap. Plus, Ricky Metallico gives his analysis of tonight's series opener here in Anaheim. Only on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post-Game Live. A lot to talk about if you're Ricky Metallico, talking about Jerome Williams, excuse me. and how well he pitched tonight. 5 1/3. Really did a nice job. His sinker was down. Dominic Brown is the batter. Dominic takes a strike. It's 0-1. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Dominic rips it. Ooh, caught by Pujols over at first. Don't do anything about that. He hit that one right on the nose, and Pujols sat and played perfectly and was able to make the grab. That'll do it for the Phils here in the 8th inning. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. And a little defense from Albert Pujols. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Phillies will wrap up their 3-game series with the Seattle Mariners. Another Citizens Bank Business Person Special and a Modal Sporting Goods Kids Run the Bases. That's for fans 14 and under. It's always a great day at Citizens Bank Park when the fans or the kids get a chance to go out onto the ball field and run the bases. Order your tickets now for that 3-game series by going to Phillies.com. Bottom of the 8th inning. And Cesar Jimenez will take over. Jimenez takes over for Mario Hollins. Mario did a great job. A 1-2-3 7th inning. So this is the 4th left-hander used tonight by the Phils. Seventh ball game for Cesar. First pitch is over. It's 0-1. Kendrick is 1 for 3. He singled and scored in the 6th inning. Also drove in a run. Check swing. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cesar's done a nice job for the Phillies. Spent most of the time this year down in the minor leagues as a relief pitcher. Did start 2 games for Lehigh Valley. Getting a chance to pitch up here in the big leagues. And the 1-2 pitch off the plate. Rollins comes charging. He'll play it. Ooh, bare hands it, no play. Second hit of the night for Howie Kendrick. And Colin Cowgill.
I thought this was going to be a freaking one of the big plays. You know, that bare hand to come up and pose into first base, but right choice to hold it, not throwing it to first base.
So here's Cowgill up for the second time. He reached on that ground rule double his first time up. Phillies set up to try to turn two. Rollins and Utley shorten up. Breaking ball, and it's 0-1. That's the part of Jimenez's success, just how he's able to, even with his off-speed pitch, kind of make it seem to the hitter that something else is coming.
Yeah.
Shallow center field. Chase Utley on the eye in Fregosi. And there's one out. Angels honored the late Jim Fregosi before the ball game today. Not only did they have the number 11 in Jim's name emblazoned in the outfield grasses, number of course is retired out here in Anaheim. He was an original Angel. He managed the Angels. His son Jim Jr. throughout the ceremonial first pitch, and of course the teams are both teams are wearing the patches tonight in honor of Jim, who passed away this past off season. It was a nice ceremony, subtle, beautiful video that they played here at the Big A. As John McDonald bats for the first time. Chopper foul.
What did we forget with Fregosi Jr. I played with in 1989 in West Palm Beach. That was a few years ago.
That was a few years ago. I think it was great when you were looking at that list of players that were part of that team. You're wondering, I didn't know he played with me.
I had no idea.
Jim now works for the Kansas City Royals organization. Down the left field line, that'll hook foul. And it's 1-2. Did he catch it in the hat? I think he caught it in the hat, Matt. It's so casual. I've done this all the time. 2 balls and 2 strikes to McDonald. Chopper softly hit. Blanco has a play at first. And there are 2 outs. Up to second base goes Howie Kendrick.
Now, do you think Jamie would want that guy to use 2 hands on a hat catch?
I don't think he could.
Kind of kills the purpose, doesn't it?
I don't think he could. He'd have to have 2 hands right on the bill of the hat. I mean, he couldn't do it. That's one of those where you just got to be one-handed. Here's Chris Iannetta, who has an RBI single tonight. He's 1 for 3. Yeah, he could have used 2.
No.
Out toward right field. Marlon Byrd heading back. He's under this one. Makes the catch. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left in scoring position. Last chance for the Phillies as we go to the top of the 9th inning, as Carlos Ruiz will lead it off when we come back. Tweet at PST on CSN, and Michael Barkan could discuss your tweet on Philly Sports Talk, presented by Comcast Business. Weeknights at 5 on Comcast Sportsnet. One change for the Angels. They have a new first baseman. Efrain Navarro will take over for Albert Pujols. Here at the top of the 9th inning. The Phillies down 7-2. Carlos Ruiz 0 for 3 tonight. A strikeout, a fly out, and a ground out. Carlos takes a strike. It's 0-1. It's still Fernando Salas that's in the ball game pitching for the Angels. Salas took over in the 8th inning. Grilly pitched a third of an inning in the 7th in relief of C.J. Wilson.
I like how catchers hold the ball there a little longer, thinking that maybe the umpire might change his mind. Doesn't happen so often.
It's very rare. Oh, Matt, this is going right toward us. Oh. It's very rare when an umpire will be delayed. If not, it's noticeable if an umpire is delayed on the call. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ruiz. And Carlos is struck out. 1 away here in the 9th inning. 4 in a row retired by Salas. That's his 2nd strikeout. And that'll bring Darren Ruff to the plate. Darren's had himself a nice night offensively. He's 2 for 2. He's been on base 3 times. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. Has his average up to 200. On the outside corner, 0-2. It's a tough pitch. We've talked about that tonight. But Mike Esterbrook has been calling that same pitch.
It's always nice to get that hit to get you over to 200 or higher. You got to get off the interstate. 195, 194.
Yeah, Darren was off to a slow start before he was sent down in the minor leagues. He was 1 for 11 to start. Hit the ball hard a few times. Now he's at 7 for 35 with 2 home runs, including that home run he hit to straightaway center field in yesterday's game. That was a nice swing.
Short and powerful.
Swing and a miss. So Salas has back-to-back strikeouts, and he's now retired 5 in a row. A reminder, tomorrow night we'll be back here in Anaheim. A.J. Burnett to your left, Jared Weaver to your right. 2 right-handers with different styles, with a lot of movement. They will be the pitchers. We'll be on the air with Phillies pregame live at 9:30. First pitch is scheduled for a little after 10 Eastern, 7 local. And the Phillies will head off to San Francisco. Andres Blanco, switch hitter, batting left-handed, takes high. It's 1-0. And a line drive out toward right field. Here comes Calhoun, and he makes the running grab. And the Angels have taken game 1 of this 2-game series. They come from behind. They win it 7-2. Calhoun had 2 hits in that 6th inning when the Angels scored 7 runs. He had a home run to start it and an RBI single to cap off the scoring. 11 men came to the plate in that inning for the Angels as they erased a 2-run deficit and turned it into eventually a 7-2 victory. Our W.B. Mason deliveries of the game, and both are coming off the bat of Cole Calhoun.
Well, here's a slider from Williams, it down the right field corner on a little hang-on slider. Nice short swing, and then Diekman, doesn't matter how hard you hit it, it's where you place it. Got an RBI single right here, and that is your W.B. Mason deliveries of the game.
So the Angels take game 1 of this 2-game series. They win it by a final 7-2. We'll be back to wrap things up from Anaheim right after this.